So these were the types of stable coins that are existing in the market. Let's jump on to the next type of platform, which is lending and borrowing. There is a common term that is used for both lending and borrowing platforms. It is called decentralized money markets. Decentralized money markets means these are just platforms that enable users to borrow and lend cryptocurrencies using blockchain-based smart contracts. All the operations that are happening in a decentralized money market platform, they are completely permissionless, completely open, and they all happen without the use of any centralized body or custodians. Now, these money markets, like I use the word market, they are marketplaces. They are governed by open source code. They are managed by community. They are completely democratic, and the supply and demand is maintained only on a peer-to-peer level. What do I mean by supply and demand is, let's see, we have lenders who are depositing fiat currency, or if not, let's say a stable coin, into the lending platform, and then there are borrowers who are taking loans in the form of cryptocurrencies, and they are keeping crypto assets like these cryptocurrencies as collateral. It's very simple how it works in banks also, that borrowers, then they repay the loan with the interest, and they receive the collateral back after repayment as soon as they have paid the loan and the interest both. So why should lender deposit any currency in the DeFi lending platform? It is simple. They will also earn some passive income. They will also earn some yield for lending their cryptocurrencies or stable coins or even money into these lending platforms. As I mentioned, these decentralized money markets, they are completely operated using, again, immutable smart contracts that dictate each and every operation or each and every transaction that is happening on these lending and borrowing platforms. In simple words, if I have to tell you, for example, if I decide to lend or borrow cryptocurrencies, I will sign a smart contract that establishes the interest rate. So how much they will supply or request when the contract expires. The terms of the contracts, they cannot be changed. And if a user wants to make adjustments, they have to first complete the previous contract, and then they have to get into the new contract or submit a new one. Now, the relationship between DeFi lender and borrower is pretty straightforward. So lenders provide funds to earn interest, and borrowers pay interest on the funds they have borrowed. Now, in this diagram, it may look to you simply that, okay, there is this one borrower and there is this lender. Now, imagine this in a much larger landscape where there are thousands of lenders, there are thousands of borrowers. They have all come on a single marketplace, this decentralized money marketplace, and they are all interacting with the platform at once. Every person, they wish to deposit different cryptocurrencies, they wish to borrow different cryptocurrencies. Every currency has interest rates set up for both lending and borrowing, and these rates, yes, pretty much they are also decided based on the demand and supply of these currencies in the money markets. I will go very deep into DeFi lending in the coming videos, but right now I have explained you how DeFi lending and borrowing works. One thing that is you need to know is that users deposits their funds into a protocol, and these funds are logged in the platform. I've explained you how it works, but there are a few interesting things that if you want to remember, you can. For example, in the DeFi lending platforms, what we have seen is that lender not only gets the interest payment on their lending deposits, they also receive the governance token of that very platform. For example, in Compound, they receive Comp, in Aave, they receive Lend, in Maker, they receive DAI, etc. So even just for lending, if you're getting an interest rate of, let's say, 5 to 6%, and this is much superior to many banks, what they're out there. And for the very reason, the banks have to pay their employees for million number of things, and that's where they are earning between the difference in the interest rates between lenders and borrowers, or depositors and borrowers. There are no employees to be paid here. It's completely peer-to-peer. In case of DeFi borrowing, if I want to borrow cryptocurrencies, I will deposit cryptocurrencies as assets. Now, these assets, they are logged in the smart contracts. I told you that smart contracts, they are conditions, and they can be executed once the conditions are met. Now, for example, let's say you want to borrow $1,000 and you deposited, let's say, $2,000 as a collateral. Now, till the time you will not pay principal amount, that is $1,000, and your interest payment both, your $2,000 that were deposited as a collateral, they will not be released. Why? They are logged in the smart contract. In the salt and lending business, Aave is the most famous lending and borrowing platform in the world. Yes, you can use Aave and similar DeFi lending platforms to earn a passive yield. For example, if you are having let's say stable coins in USDT or USDC, you can be a lender. You can deposit these funds into the DeFi lending platform like Aave, and you can earn passive yield on that. What is this yield like? I can show you how to access these DeFi platforms. You only need one thing to access DeFi platforms. You don't need any KYC. You don't need to put any kind of data or any kind of information. You don't need to tell them their name. You don't need to tell them your name. You don't need to tell them where you live, your date of birth. They will not disturb you with any kind of useless messages that, hey, buy credit cards and things like that. You just need a wallet to access this. Usually the wallet we use these days is called Metamask wallet. If you can see here, you see this fox that is here, that is the only thing you need to access this. Okay, you can just go on it. It is a browser extension which you can find it anywhere on Google. The wallet name is Metamask. You can just go click on download now and it will start downloading. It is just a browser extension. It also has an app that you can download in your Android devices or iPhone devices. But for now, that is all it needs. The moment you download it, you can install it on your browser. And as soon as you have installed it, you can just click on it. And yes, that is all you need. Coming back. So I have connected my wallet to Aave, and now we have entered the platform. You can see app.aave.com. Okay, and now we are waiting for it to maybe fetch some results. And these are all the different mainnets. These are all the blockchains that Aave supports right now. MetaMask, as of now, it supports almost all the blockchains. And what we know is MetaMask is easily the most accessible and versatile wallets we have. But one thing I would clearly warn you, never share your private keys of your MetaMask wallet with anyone. There might be platforms that might deceive you that you need to enter your seed phrase, your private seed phrase, to, let's say, download the information of your wallet. Never do that. Please be safe. Yes, so I have connected my on Aave, and you can clearly see, yeah, I have a very low Ethereum balance as of now. But anyways, let's check the markets, what Aave is having. Here you can see that, you know, the assets that you can borrow and deposit on Aave. We have Binance BUSD, DAI, FEI, Frax, Gemini Dollar, SUSD, TrueUSD, etc., etc. You can see also the total amount of money that has been borrowed, $9.2 million. So you can see that this platform is quite famous. What we can do is we can clearly go, we can click on, let's say, details. You can get all the details and all the analytics of the lending and borrowing markets that are operating or working. Let's click on borrow. Let's say I want to borrow. Okay. Here you can see is the rates or the APYs on these assets. Yeah, so if you want to supply your assets for lending, you can clearly see the APY you will be getting. There are many analytics based platforms also where you can also find the rates of lending and borrowing on multiple these decentralized money markets. You can go on DeFirate and you can see the rates that are on different lending and borrowing platforms. Compound, Aave, Fulcrum, BlockFi, Nexo, Celsius. These are all some of the most leading DeFi lending and borrowing platforms in the world. You can see the assets that are available. You can see the amount that you can get if you will lend your assets right here. You can compare these assets, you can compare the platforms, and you can definitely decide which platform you want to deposit your money in and borrow your money from, and then you can go for the best rates possible. This was just the lending markets. We also have borrowing markets that we can see. These are the rates of borrowing funds on these platforms. So this is a very simple model of how DeFi lending and borrowing works.